My name is Josh Reese, and this is the Josh Reese Show. And we are here to talk about the Houston's Texans first round draft pick, Deshaun. Hopefully he scores a lot of touchdowns, Watson. The Houston Texans picked him up with pick number 12 from the Cleveland Browns. Damn, they love the Cleveland Browns. Anyways, before we get into breaking down what actually went down today with the Houston Texans, let me first of all tell you who I am. If this is the first time you've watched one of these videos, first of all, thank you. Secondly, my name is Josh Reese, and I cover sports here in the city of Houston. I am the face of Houston sports. Like it or not, you've seen me in a lot of background places, and you've heard my quotes that I've gotten from players everywhere. They've been used everywhere as well. Anyways, I digress. If you do like this video, feel free to like, feel free to comment, feel free to share, and feel free to subscribe. 4 things for you to do. Oh, also, number 5, you can also follow me on Twitter if you don't already. My name is Mr. Joshua on Twitter. But now that we've got all that said, let's get into what actually happened today. There started to be a little bit of run on quarterbacks, and you wondered if there was going to be one that kind of fell all the way to the Texans when they were picking down in the 20s. But fear no more. Rick Smith said, "You know what? I hear you, Texan fan. You don't want to wait till pick 20 whatever." I can't remember which one they actually had. Was it 25, 27, 20-something? He said, "Screw that. We're going to go up and get a quarterback right now." And he traded with the Cleveland Browns at pick number 12 to grab Deshaun. Hopefully he scores a lot of touchdowns for the Houston Texans. Watson. Man, that's a really long nickname. But maybe that can fit. So what the Texans gave up was a first-round pick for Deshaun Watson. Kind of pricey. First-round pick in next year's draft, and they also traded with the Texans in this draft. They got their pick in this draft. Like I said, it was 20s or whatever. Was it 27? I probably should have did more research in this one before I turned on this video. But it's really late, and I wanted to get this done anyways. And while that is pricey, what makes it even more pricey is the fact that just a couple weeks earlier, maybe it was a month ago, 2 months ago, that the Cleveland Browns traded with the Texans again. The Texans shipped them off Brock Osweiler, and the Texans sent them off a second-round draft pick next year. So, going into next year's draft, the Texans' first pick likely will not be until the 3rd round. That's kind of scary. So that is a little bit disappointing, but if you end up bagging your franchise quarterback in Deshaun Watson, who cares? That's what you're looking for anyways. So it all works out in the end. All's well as it ends well? So far. It hasn't ended anywhere so far, but from everything that you've heard from interviews and just everything that you've read and learned from Deshaun Watson, I'm sure everyone else has done their homework on him. But it seems like he's a pretty good kid, and he's going to be someone that's going to come in here and work hard, like he mentioned over and over again when people were interviewing him about joining the Texans. I did find it a little bit humorous that he said some of his favorite quarterbacks to watch while he was in college was Tom Savage and Brandon Weeden. Are you insane? Whose favorite quarterbacks are those? If Tom Savage and Brandon... They might have children. Tom Savage and Brandon Weeden's children, I don't even think they are their favorite quarterbacks. I digress. You hear some really silly things during the draft, and when guys are getting interviewed and stuff like that. I think, who was it? Was it Mitchell Trubisky who went to the Bears? And I saw someone point out this on Twitter afterwards. Apparently, Trubisky said his favorite Chicago Bear player was Jim Brown or whoever, and someone pointed out that that player died when Trubisky was 5. So yeah, that's some major pandering major pandering to that fan base. I mean, why couldn't have Deshaun Watson have come out and said, I really, really, really enjoyed watching DeAndre Hopkins play or something like that. And this is a little bit more realistic than saying, I really, really loved the way I want to learn so much from Tom Savage and Brandon Weeden. I just thought that was funny. My own little sense of humor. It kind of tickled me. But it looks like the Texans are getting someone that they have never had at quarterback. I mean, Case Keenum, I guess, would have been the closest comparison. Someone that could throw the ball, sling it all over the yard, and had a little bit of escapability. Maybe Brandon Weeden or T.J. Yates to a lesser extent. I don't know, but clearly what the Texans got is probably their most exciting quarterback that they maybe have ever drafted, David Carr. While it was exciting for the franchise to get a quarterback in that draft, David Carr ended up being a complete train wreck. And Deshaun Watson seems like he's going to have a little bit better to work with than Carr did his first few years here in Houston. And when you look at what Watson has done in his college career, it's pretty remarkable. Played Alabama twice, beat him once, put 400 yards up on Alabama's defense twice. That's respect. I mean, Nick Saban is probably, thanking Jesus that he did not come back for a senior season. Deshaun Watson was a very, very good college player, and I really look forward to seeing what he's going to be able to do here in the pros. I'm very interested in seeing how. I'm hoping Bill O'Brien does not try to make Deshaun Watson adjust to his system completely. We've seen how that worked in the past, and that has not worked very well. I'm hoping that Bill O'Brien will try to shift his system a little bit towards Deshaun Watson and maybe try to utilize some of his strengths. Look, Watson is a little bit of a dual threat quarterback. He might not be like a Cam Newton or a Michael Vick, but he can possess some dual threat capabilities. He can escape outside the pocket when his read isn't there. He can hit his guys, and that's something the Texans offense does not have. Brock Osweiler, while he did run a few times last year, he was certainly no dual threat quarterback. So it'll be very interesting to see how Bill O'Brien chooses to work with Watson during minicamp, the preseason, and just leading up to the regular season. I know the Texans have mentioned that they are completely fine with Tom Savage starting, and I'm sure they are. But after drafting Deshaun Watson, the fan base will not be completely happy with them starting Tom Savage. I see it pretty hard for them not to start Watson game one. And I do feel kind of bad for Tom Savage. He's always seemed like he could be the next guy. He's got the quote unquote tools. He just wasn't able to stay healthy. And when he was able to stay healthy, when he was able to show some of his skills, it seemed like he could be the Texans quarterback. And do fairly well. I know in preseason and in training camp, I've seen him do very well in the Texans offense. He makes some really good reads, and maybe that's a little bit that he knows his offense like the back of his hand. But I mean, that in itself should give you a pretty good chance to start now that Brock Osweiler is gone. But with Deshaun Watson, it's going to be pretty hard for him to do that. So Watson's going to have a lot to learn in the next couple weeks, months before September hits. So really exciting for the Texans. I'm sure the Clemson connection between DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson. I'm sure we would love to see that connect for a lot of touchdowns. So I'm really, really excited about the Texans and them finally. I know it's weird to say, like, finally getting their quarterback, and it's still so young in the process, but it feels like the Texans might have gotten something really good with Watson. I know myself personally, and maybe other people felt this way when they got Brock Osweiler. I was never a fan of that move. And while Brock Osweiler certainly had more NFL tape than Watson, Watson I think has a lot more tools than Brock Osweiler had. Brock Osweiler was tall, and I'm not really sure there was very much else that Brock Osweiler could do. Deshaun Watson has a lot more skills, and I look forward to seeing him in Texans training camp this upcoming season. So I'm gonna bounce on out here, guys. I appreciate you for giving this a watch. I will do a breakdown video after the draft, just kind of recap everything that went down for the Texans throughout these days. Maybe they grab another pick or two by moving down. Who knows? But in day one, on Thursday night, they grabbed a potential franchise quarterback, and that's something the Texans have not had in a very long time. And it has brought a little bit of excitement and a little bit of fresh air, energy, and buzz. And that's something the team has not had in a long while. So, guys, I'm going to bounce out of here. I appreciate you for giving this a watch. Feel free to leave me a comment and let me know what you think about the Texans getting Deshaun Watson. Are y'all guys as positive as I am? Or are y'all guys a little bit down on some of his interceptions that he has had? Do you think his skills will translate to the NFL? Let me know. I'd appreciate it. Until then, I will catch you guys. When is my next video going to drop? Drop like I'm a rapper. I think I will be back on here before the Rockets' first playoff game. So I think we'll do something something this weekend. So look forward to it. Maybe an Astros video. Maybe Texans video. Who knows? But till then, till next time, I appreciate it, and always make sure to try the veal.